This is the second public hearing in docket 7508, which is a petition of the Georgia Mountain Community Wind to construct a wind generation facility in Milton, Georgia. My name is Jim Bolts. I'm the chairman of the Vermont Public Service Board. With me tonight are the other two board members. To my right is David Cohen, and to my left is John Wood. The purpose of this public hearing is to get public input concerning the proposed project. While public hearing comments do not become part of the formal evidence in the case, public comments help raise new issues or perspectives that the board should consider. All of the comments received by the board, whether submitted in writing or provided at public hearings, become part of the case's public file, so that the board members, board staff, and the participants in the formal case can consider the comments. And we do accept comments through email or in writing, and you can submit those at any time right up through February. Their hearings right now are scheduled to take place, the technical hearings are scheduled to take place in early February. We probably won't make a decision in this case till March or a little after that. So feel free to send in written comments if you'd like. There may be formal parties to the case here tonight, people who have intervened in the case, such as people who intervened in the case, and the petitioner and the Department of Public Service who represents the public. Since these parties have provided formal written testimony, we will not hear from them tonight. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to hear from the public. We also ask those who spoke at the first public hearing in Georgia on June 9th to give others a chance to speak first. Once everyone else has had an opportunity to speak, we will allow those who already spoke on June 9th, at the June 9th hearing to have an opportunity to speak tonight, assuming time allows. And we have a transcript of that hearing, and we have your comments in writing, and we will be reviewing those before we make our decision. We have a court reporter here this evening. She'll be making a complete transcript of this hearing. Before you begin speaking, please state your name clearly for the court reporter. We have sign-up sheets if you're interested in speaking tonight. If you wish to speak, please sign up on one of those sheets. This also helps the court reporter to keep track of who is speaking. If you are considering speaking but you are not certain if you would like to speak, please sign up anyway, so you can always decide to pass it when we call your name. I think that's all of the introduction marks I have at this time. What we'll ask is, I will call out the name of the person who's to speak first or next, and they should come down here to the microphone and speak to us, and the court reporter will take your comments. And as I said, you can submit them in writing to us. At this point, we have quite a few people who wish to speak, so we're going to try to limit your comments to 3 minutes or so, 2 or 3 minutes, so that we can give everybody a chance. Then when we get through everyone, if there's some more time, we can take additional comments at that time. I think Board Member Burke has some comments he'd like to add.
It's not really adding. I just want to make sure, because when we go to these meetings, a lot of times we start to realize shortly into them that there's some confusion in the mind of the public as to the difference between the Public Service Department and the Public Service Board. Public Service Department is the public advocate. I think that you should understand that they're sort of the lawyers that are trying to argue the point of what's best for the state of Vermont. The petitioner and other parties and other people who have intervened might have different ideas. We're the judges that actually listen to these contested cases and make the decision. So that's how you really ought to view us. It's a little different than normally a judge wouldn't be out listening to the public at a hearing like this, but that is a requirement for us. But after tonight, we're hearing these as if we were the three judges making the decision. The evidence will be put in front of us in these technical hearings, and we'll make our decision based on the evidence that's there. Why do we come out tonight to listen to people here in Milton? Well, we also have an obligation to make sure the record's complete. And a lot of times what we hear in these meetings helps us to determine what evidence really should be out there and what answers to the questions that are important to maybe you here tonight we can take and make part of the decision. We want to make sure that the questions you have get answered. So that's why we're here tonight, and to listen to you with regard to what's important to you. Thanks.
And I just want to add a couple other things. we make the decision based on statutory criteria that are laid out by the legislature, and the evidence has to meet the criteria that are laid out in the statute. There are 10 overriding criteria that we have to follow, and that's the basis for our decision. I'd also like to point out that a member of the Public Service Department is here tonight. If you want to speak to him after the hearing and give any of your comments, he does represent the public interest in this proceeding. His name is Jim Porter. So he's here, and feel free to talk to him about your concerns. I think we'll now go to hearing from the public.
Let me state my name, Tom Cossie, Georgia, Vermont. I'm in objection to this project. I have a lot of concerns. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm concerned at the destruction of the mountain. I'm concerned about the environment around there, the wildlife and what it's going to do that. I'm concerned about my neighbors and how it's going to affect them, because I already know that it's affecting the Wimbles and several of my other neighbors who it's going to be right in their face. I'm concerned that it's not a very energy efficient project, as it's not going to produce large volumes of energy for long periods of time, but rather short periods of time. I think that's about all I'm going to say about it. I think there needs to be a lot more study done. Thank you.
Stuart. I am from Williston originally. I farmed for 27 years in Williston, and have been watching what's going on here, and a lot of concern about the wildlife and the harm to the wildlife that everybody's concerned about. Wildlife adapts very easily and quickly. On the farm in Milton, it was not uncommon for me to count 42 deer at a time. I had flocks of turkeys. Actually, neighbors used to call up and complain that my deer were eating their trees in the wintertime. And I told them that they should call the state of Vermont because I didn't own the deer. I think people that concerned about wildlife is really non-existent. If they clear the area, there'll probably be more growth, so the deer won't go out in the meadows as much. They can stay more in their natural environment, in the clearings in the forest, and they'll adapt to the wind turbines without any trouble. I've been to wind turbine farms in Denmark. I went over to Western New York State, driving across the country last year. I stopped in Oregon and looked at wind turbines. In Oregon, they're talking about taking the dams off some of the rivers because the wind energy is that efficient. In Denmark, they're taking down the turbines that are 20 years old.
Mr. Stewart?
And they're putting...
You need to be talking to us.
Oh, excuse me.
You can face us.
Okay.
Because the Corps needs to see you really, to take down.
Okay, and they're going to put up new turbines. These new turbines are so efficient, they're going to burden the grid with too much electricity. So what's the Danish government doing? They're taxing the excess power. Well, this company called Better Place, which is an American company, is actually going in and putting in stations to purchase that excess power at night and charge car batteries. And if you go to Better Place website, you can see they can change a car battery in 45 seconds. And by 2011, they're going to be car batteries, cars who are running on green energy just from the wind turbines. Denmark is first, and Israel is second, and Israel is going to be doing it in 2013. So I remember as a kid when they wanted to put the interstate in, and everybody was opposed to it. Well, I mean, imagine living without the interstate. I would suggest anybody who's really opposed to wind energy would invest their time and energy in putting solar hot water on their house. Today I was making water of 120 degrees, and I put it on myself, and in the summer I run up to 180, and in December, January, I only get about 90. But if you want to help with energy, or you don't want to fight the wind turbines, don't use energy, make your own.